Um, and I burned out. I woke up one day and I didn't want to go to school. And that's the first time that it had ever happened to me as an educator, as a teacher, as an administrator. I loved going to school. I loved my job. I loved my work. But I woke up one day and I thought, okay, this is something's broken. So I took a year off to do nothing and to heal. And in that time, my husband and I merged our lives and we got married. And I had moved up to Seattle, and I was ready for a fresh start, and I was ready to figure out what I wanted to do next. And I thought I was going to be running back to schools, and I wasn't. I was kind of surprised that I wasn't. But I started a little consulting practice to throw spaghetti against the wall and see what was going to stick. And so I stuck with my ritual design work, and that's been a lot of fun. But the writing, the processing, gave me space to figure out how I landed in that place of burnout. Well, of course, the whole world landed in a place of burnout in 2020. And I wanted to understand not just how I landed there, but also how we all landed there. And what do we do moving forward? In my life, had been really lucky to have lots of tools for reflection and lots of opportunities to make space and, for that reflection and make meaning and to figure things out. And I know not everybody has those tools and not everybody has those resources. Uh, so after a couple of years, I stepped back from what I had written and I saw a through line about identity and particularly about, what were the relationships that really shaped me? What were the experiences that were really formative for me? And what do I want to hold on to and what do I want to let go of, moving forward? Who's the person I want to be and what's the world that I want to live in? Um, I decided to publish it because I thought, well, I'm sure I'm not the only one who's trying to process how we all landed in that place, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who's trying to figure out what to do next.
Yeah.
So I offered it as not to say like, hey, be like me, or I don't offer it to say, oh, my life is so interesting, I deserve a memoir, but I offer it as a model for reflection of,
Mhm.
what I hope other people can look at their experiences, look at their relationships and figure out what do they want to hold on to and what do they want to carry with them forward as we figure out what we're all doing next.
Yeah, some of the quotes and things like that that you've expressed in there, so perfect, so they really tell about your family, and
Mm.
it's kind of like a lot of people's families do that way, and it's just really nice to have that observation that people can hear from your side, and then also see about their side and what they have to hold on to from that. Because when people are gone, the things that we treasure the most are the moments that we shared with them, memories that
Mhm.
are like that.
And there was a lot of that.
Yeah.
That was one of the best parts of writing these essays. I got to revisit really beautiful moments and I got to
Mhm.
reconstruct things that maybe had gotten a little blurry and gotten a little hazy over time.
Mhm.
But that also, as much as I was eager to excavate the joy and revisit the good stuff, I wanted to revisit the hard stuff, and I really challenged myself to be honest with it, both with myself, my own insecurities and figuring out where did this fear come from? Where did that insecurity or that disillusionment, where did that come from? I wanted to understand that. But I also wanted to understand what got me through the hard stuff, what got me through my parents' alcoholism, what got me through feeling really peripheral to my family, what got me through
Mhm.
being a scared and closeted bo little boy, until I was able to step into my own agency, until I was able to kind of create my own persona, my own identity.
How old were you when you were able to tell your parents?
I think I told them when I was 20. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I had as I described the story in the book that on my first day of high school, I really thought I was going to get to high school. I kind of finally understood what gay was, and I figured
Mhm.
out that that applied to me. Because up to that point, until I was like 11 or 12, I had no vocabulary for it. I didn't know any out people. I didn't know any queer people. I didn't know what that meant.
Mhm.
And in the late 80s, the messaging was not good. The messaging
Right.
devastating. The
Right.
the messaging was your identity is going to be your downfall. You think you're going to love, but that's going to kill you. That was the messaging that we were getting in the era of the epidemic. And
Yeah.
but mhm.
My brother was gay, and he lost 300 and something friends in the
Yeah,
80s that he knew personally. There wasn't Facebook. He knew these guys personally, and
yeah,
he went through that. Um, he passed away a few years ago, and he was and my mom and my dad also passed away last
mm,
year. So I feel synergy with you there. He was the best guy I know. I love him. I miss him all the time. But he was very active in the community, and
mm,
being his sister and we were best friends.
mm.
I'm really grateful that I got to see everything and live through the 80s and 90s and everything. I lived in West Hollywood and with time,
Oh.
and so it was really neat, really fun, and I miss the community since he's been gone. I haven't really seen a lot of his friends, but there were lots of people that guys and girls that weren't able to go home for Thanksgiving because they were estranged from their parents. Of course, we adopted everybody, but
Yeah.
which is what you do.